Hey everybody, it's Zach at Happy Hollow. Birds, as well as all the other animals out here at camp, are constantly having to adjust to changes in their environment. And they have to do this just to survive out here. We call these changes that they make adaptations. Now, adaptations are just changes made to the behavior or structure of an animal in order for it to survive better in its environment. Today, we're going to get a good look at a couple of adaptations that some of the birds out here at camp have made in order to help them survive. This is the pileated woodpecker. You're likely to hear this bird before you ever see it out here at camp because of the loud drumming noise that it makes when it's searching for food. It's adapted over the years to be able to climb up and down the dead trees here at camp in search of its favorite snack, which is carpenter ants. Yummy. In order for the woodpecker to climb up and down trees, it's got to have the right feet suited for the job. So let's get a closer look at its feet and how they've adapted to suit the woodpecker. So as you can see, it's got 4 toes with 2 in the front closer together and then 2 in the back spread out. These feet allow for the pileated woodpecker to have great balance while it's in search of food and while it's drilling for those carpenter ants. They've also allowed for it to be able to climb up and down trees and logs and stumps and make it a very nimble bird so that it can find those carpenter ants it's in search for. This bird is the great horned owl. It is a bird of prey, which means that it hunts and kills other vertebrates. So some of the favorite foods of the great horned owl include mice and rabbits, plenty of which are out here at camp. You aren't very likely to see owls in general because they do most of their hunting at night, and they're very stealthy flyers and are very, very quiet most of the time. A big part of why the great horned owl is able to hunt and kill animals like rabbits and mice is because of its feet. So let's get a better look at the owl's feet right here. It's kind of perched on a log here, but I hope you can see how sharp the talons are on the owl. They're incredibly long and sharp and hooked. The owl's feet are much, much different than the pileated woodpecker's feet that we just looked at a moment ago because they serve a very different purpose. The great horned owl primarily uses its feet to catch and kill prey. So it will be perched up in a branch, kind of like this one, at night, and locate a mouse on the forest floor using its great eyesight. Then swoop down and grab it with its talons and kill the animal sort of simultaneously as it grabs it. So it uses its talons to both catch and kill its prey. So very, very different than what the pileated woodpecker uses its feet for. So the next feature we're going to explore with our birds are their beaks. Keep in mind that there are many different variations of beaks and feet in our natural world, and we are just looking at a couple of those today. Both feet and beaks are usually determined by how the birds have specialized their lifestyles according to the environment, their food source, their behaviors, and any other changes that may take place in their environment. So our pileated woodpecker here, as you can see with this model, it's standing in front of a log with a large hole in it. That hole is actually created by the woodpecker's beak. So as you can see, the beak on this woodpecker is very long and sturdy and pointy. It's kind of like a drill. So the way this bird eats is it finds dead trees in the forest, like this one. It climbs up to a spot in the tree, and it uses its beak to drill these large rectangular holes, as you see right here. And what it's in search for most of the time is carpenter ants. They really love carpenter ants. So they use those beaks to drill holes in the side of the trees, and then they can reach in there with their beak and stick their tongue out and lick up those carpenter ants that it's in search for. Now back to our great horned owl. So the beak of the great horned owl is vastly different from the pileated woodpecker that we just checked out. You can see from the side profile here. The owl's beak is much shorter, it is curved, and it's pointy, whereas the woodpecker's beak is long and sturdy and pointed at the end, kind of drill-like. The owl's beak is shaped this way because it's designed for tearing apart flesh and bone. So after it catches its prey, whether it's a mouse or a rabbit, and takes it back to its nest, it uses its beak to tear it apart and eat it. That's all I've got for you today, folks. Thank you for exploring these bird adaptations with me.